I'd like to call to order the City of North Ridgeville Planning Commission meeting for April 8th, 2025. Madam Chair, please call roll.
Sorry. Ali,
Present.
Toth,
Here.
Schumann is excused, Abens,
Here.
Smolik,
Here.
members of the administration, Assistant Law Director Morgan. Here. Planning and Development Director Lieber. Here. City Engineer Reitz.
Okay, everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Has all the commission members had a chance to review the meeting minutes from our last meeting on March 11th, 2025? Are there any corrections at this time? Hearing none, those minutes shall stand. Madam Secretary, is there any correspondence brought before this commission tonight?
Director Lieber has something.
Okay. Director Lieber, I believe you have an update on the Planning and Zoning Workshop?
The registration is now open for the May 15th Planning and Zoning Workshop in Independence. And so I think the Planning Commission opted to attend that workshop in lieu of bringing in an educational speaker. So let Tina know if you plan to attend. I don't think you need to select sessions, but we'll want to make sure that all the members get registered who plan to attend that day. So I think it's like an 8 to 4 about time frame, full day long of sessions. So this promises to be very educational, variety of topics. And then I have one other item, if I could kind of squeeze it in here, which is we've set a date for a public meeting for our Lorraine Road, Lear-Nagel Road traffic study public meeting. We're trying to come up with a better name than that synopsizes the study because it's long. But Monday, May 12th at 6 p.m. at LCCC Ridge Campus. So we're planning on hosting it there in the lobby, which is in the study area. The building is in the study area of the traffic study, so you can experience the traffic firsthand on your way to the public meeting. So there'll be a presentation by our consultant, and then we'll have some engagement opportunities for attendees. And then we'll have some additional input opportunity through our website after that meeting. So
Perfect.
I hope you can attend.
Who's the consultant on that?
Wolpert.
Okay. And then once again, that planning workshop is May 15th? Is that the date? Mm-hmm. What date? Does anybody know what date?
It is May 15th.
What is there a day of the week that I'm just Thursday? Perfect. Okay. I believe there's no old business before the commission, so we will start with new business. Madam Secretary, please read the first application.
And Madam Secretary, if you could read them in the numerical order as opposed to the agenda order.
Starting with the second.
Technically, old business should have been an old business.
You're right. PPZ 2024-0319 City Limits 39462 Center Ridge Road, PPN 07-00-046-101-006, owner Stephen Joseph, 36821 Sugar Ridge Road, North Ridgeville, Ohio 44039. Proposal consists of building and site improvements for restaurant and lounge. Property is zone B3 Highway Commercial District.
Okay. Director Lieber, is there any additional findings of fact brought today based
Yes.
on our previous meeting we had?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I won't rehash the history, but just, as you're aware, council had approved the rezoning from industrial to commercial, so the use of restaurant is permitted and lounge is a conditional use in the district. Planning Commission had previously tabled this development plan with a request for some additional information. So I just want to go through it. Some of your requests were and how the plans stand today. Planning Commission had requested the relocation of the ingress curb cut further west And that was really to protect the utility pole and hydrant and the right-of-way to provide more spacing and separation. So the site plan does show the curb cut has been moved as a result of striping around that landscaped area. So I feel like the Planning Commission was hoping to enlarge the curbed landscaped area to create more directionality at that curb cut to create protection for the utility pole and the hydrant. I'm not sure that just adding paint or striping adjacent to that planter really satisfies what the commission was looking for to create more of a buffer in that location. We had requested that the parking lot to be patch sealed and restriped on the site plan, and the note was updated. Planning Commission had asked for more detail on the elevations to include proposed colors, materials, and construction detail. So canopy detail had been added to the drawing. The overall height of the building was noted, but I will just say that the construction detail remains a little bit limited. There's not detail on the stucco application. So if Planning Commission approves the elevation, that will have to be worked out in the permit process. You had requested a little bit more landscape detail. You received a planter spec and a shrub detail. You had asked the applicant to ensure that the railing was provided around the entire patio portions above grade. It was a little vague as to where the railing was going to be located. So that's now shown around. I think the applicant's gonna provide an update as to their proposed fence style. And then last, we had requested a photometric plan and light fixtures needed for review. So we did receive a photometric plan, but it has not been presented in a manner that we can review in accordance with our code. It's not on the 10-foot grid. It's not shown in foot candles. I don't believe if it is shown in foot candles, then it's very excessive. And then also we need to see compliant light fixtures. The fixtures are shown at an angle, which is not full cutoff. The light plan says that they'll be horizontal, but that's not the cut sheet we got. It shows the angle. So we still have some of those lighting details that would need to be worked out prior to any permit issuance. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, on behalf of the city engineer, Mr. Wrights, does this engineering have any comments or additional questions in regards to this applicant?
Yes, thank you very much. The Planning Commission should just be aware that the engineering concerns are with the landscape island, in particular to protect the fire hydrant as well as the existing sign there. We agree with the comments that were just previously stated that we would prefer that the area of the parking lot that is to be removed for the landscaping be curbed for safety purposes, because that fire hydrant, if you've driven down there, is kind of sticking out the way, and that being by the exit driveway, the proposed exit driveway, we were concerned about vehicles hitting it, so a curb would protect that, as well as enlarging the landscaping island instead of the striping. Secondarily, we would support the sealing, striping, patching of the parking lot versus just strictly striping it, because that parking lot has been there a while, so we would like to see that happen too first for the reconfiguration with the new parking area. Thank you.
Okay, Assistant Law Director? Any questions? Okay. All right, I assume you gentlemen are here representing the application. Please state your name and address for the record.
Stephen Joseph, 36821 Sugar Ridge Road, North Ridgeville.
Jeffrey Smith, 124 Middle Avenue, Elyria, Ohio.
Okay, I know you guys were before this board previously in regards to this project. We just had, the Director Lieber fill us in. Do you have any questions or comments or additional information you could provide the board at this point in time?
The only thing I got to say is that the original site plan, the striping was out in the right-of-way, which was out past the telephone pole, and the fire hydrant sits outside in towards the road from the telephone pole. So then you guys asked me to move my striping back. So then I did. I took it back behind the telephone pole or the electric pole, and that exposed the fire hydrant and the electric pole. So now I don't know how you want me to configure that, because it sticks out into the right-of-way of Center Ridge Road. The fire hydrant does.
Okay.
So I guess we would be looking for some direction on that. And I think, as I recall, the photometric plan was something that could be approved in-house through your department, Kim?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So, first with the parking and that landscape island, we can absolutely have no parking striped in the right of way. So that would be just a non-starter. So that was a condition, a problematic condition that this plan allows us to correct. But I do think that by expanding that landscape island kind of a little towards the west, giving it greater presence, that it will have the effect of protecting the utility pole by folks not driving tightly around the corner. As for the lighting plan, it can be approved administratively. It just needs to be presented with all the information we need to determine zoning compliance, and so far that hasn't happened.
Okay. All right, do you guys have any other additional information?
Anything about the paving of the lot?
I already said that that's already on the plans, that we're gonna patch and seal and restripe as per plans.
Because it sounded like Mr. Wright said that doesn't show that on the plans.
No, if I may.
So
Go ahead.
I'm confused, that's all.
Yes, that was, the original request was that it be sealed and restriped, but now the remaining item would still be installing a curb around that section of the island where the fire hydrant's at, an existing sign, because I think that would be an additional measure of safety for that fire hydrant, the pole and the sign. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I guess there was some new additional information presented to the commission today. Do you want to maybe go a little bit and talk about this? And
Yes,
what?
That's what I proposed for the railing, instead of what's shown on the drawing. Because it was a 1 3/4 inch Schedule 40 steel railing, painted. And I think that powder coated aluminum railing, I think it looks a lot better, and I think it'll present the property a lot better.
Okay, so just for clarification, this is a substitute for, I believe there were, like you said, there was a metal railing detail. There was also a shop drawing in there of a railing system that was for another project. That's gone as well?
Yes.
That showed a roof? There's no roof over this
No,
porch?
absolutely not.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
Yes.
All the commission members have all the updated information, okay. Is that it, for your additional information, gentlemen?
Was there something we needed to say about the stucco?
Oh, this stucco is just a cement over the brick. I mean, it's an application where, I guess I can get you clarification on the product that I'm using. I mean, it's gonna be cement stucco over the existing cement brick. So it should adhere. I don't know what else to say about that one.
Okay,
It's a masonry to masonry sort of deal, so.
okay. Does any of the commission members have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yes, I had a question regarding the pots that you're going to use for traffic control. Which size are you selecting? You had given us some information there, and they had a variety of sizes there.
Yeah, I want 30-inch.
You're going to go with the 30-inch?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is there any other questions or comments? I guess, there's that back triangle towards the back that you're going to just leave like aggregate and weeds. Is there a reason why you're just not planting grass back there?
The reason is because that is, it's got so many utility poles and everything, and then the water actually drains back that way because the ditches from the turnpike.
From the elevated, oh, okay.
Yeah, the turnpike runs down that way, and the railroad track runs, and all the water goes down there. And I don't think I can keep it up because I think that the water's gonna saturate the grass too much where I can't mow it. And I'd rather keep it in stone where then the aggregate just drains itself.
All right, so you're gonna keep, like, it's gonna be stone and not weeds and stone? That's the.
No, it's gonna be, I put on the print there that is gonna be sprayed for weeds.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's just gonna be aggregate.
okay,
It'll be maintained.
okay.
Thank you.
And then, what about the lighting, the photometrics? You guys gonna generate a new photometrics plan?
Well, the engineer's gonna, he said he'll get to it this week to put it, he's got it on 30-foot squares because the parking lot is so big that he said that if he put it on 10 by 10s, you wouldn't be able to read the numbers.
Okay,
So he put it on 30-foot squares, and he's got all the lumens all the way out to the ends of the parking lot. So he thought that it would kind of cover the rest of the parking lot.
okay. And then I guess that elevated outdoor section, that's concrete, right?
Correct. It's gonna be block, split face block, and then a concrete cap.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, that's, okay. All right. Is there any other questions or comments from the commission? I guess, is there any questions or comments from the general public? All right. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion. I guess I would make a motion to approve with the following condition, that the utility pole at the front entryway is protected with, or I should say, the curb opening, the curb shall protect that utility pole as per the engineer. And then also, there should be curb modifications to protect that hydrant as well. And then the administration, second condition will be, the administration shall review the incomplete lighting plan and photometrics.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on that motion? Okay. At this time, Madam Chair, please read roll.
Ali,
Yes.
Toth,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Smolik.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
gentlemen.
We appreciate your patience and
Yes.
cooperation in letting us get this together. Thank you.
Thank you.
For cleaning it up.
No doubt. Since it was Tiffany's.
Madam Secretary, please read the next applicant.
PPZ 2025-0335, Panda Express, 32429 Cook Road, PPN 07-000-003-102-104 and -045 and -046. Applicant Philip Meter, Heights Venture Architects, 5741 Legacy Drive, Suite 320, Plano, Texas, 74024. Owner Cook Road Properties LLC, 7670 Tyler Boulevard, Mentor, Ohio, 44060. Proposal consists of constructing a new drive-through restaurant, property zone B3 Highway Commercial District.
Okay, Director Lieber, findings of fact.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This proposal consists of a new drive-through restaurant. Drive-through restaurants are permitted in the B3 Highway Commercial District. As mentioned, the project site consists of 3 parcels on Cook Road. They're all Zone B3. It includes the vacant undeveloped lot just to the east of Starbucks, and then also 2 adjacent parcels. One that has a commercial building that's been used as an auto repair business, and then the parcel after that, before that, multi-tenant plaza. The building is a 2,700 square foot building. It's a combination of stone, composite cladding, EIFS. They're showing a dumpster enclosure that will be constructed out of similar materials. They have a double drive-through. Code requires stacking for at least 10 vehicles and must be designed to allow vehicles to exit the waiting lane. The applicant had updated a previous version that didn't have the exit to include the exit. I don't believe we have a stacking exhibit to show the 10 cars. Detailed landscape plan was included. We did get some feedback from our city arborist that was incorporated. But the site plan does show a new ground sign in the area. where there's an existing tree that's to the west of the driveway that would need to be relocated. So I'd champion the relocation and not removal of any trees or any future sign placement. The lighting plan has been reviewed. It shows lighting levels that are generally code-compliant. The fixtures will be mounted at 18 feet, but we do not have fixture cut sheets provided for the pole lights, and if there are building lights, we have not received cut sheets for those building lights either. And at this point, we've seen kind of conceptually where the signs will be located on the property and building, but an official sign package has not been submitted, but that oftentimes comes later, so we'll review that when it is submitted. So I think for this project, access management was a key concern of staff. Currently along the stretch of Cook Road, there's a lot of curb cuts. I said it's frequent and poorly defined. So we have some of the newer developments that are connected to the older developments through cross-access easements. It certainly does not conform with our current access management standards for spacing. So with this project, on the positive side, the curb cut to the auto repair building will be removed. Panda Express does show that they're going to be utilizing the existing curb cut shared with Starbucks, and then we'll also share some parking spaces and the drive aisle that will be adjacent to the Starbucks drive-through. So that drive aisle between the Starbucks and the new parking will be one direction, just the same direction as the drive-through traffic in that location. Cross-access is also provided between the Panda Express property and then the commercial building to the east on Cook Road. As I mentioned, there's numerous access and utility easements that are impacting this property and adjacent properties. In terms of parking, the project meets requirements. 27 spaces are required given the area, and 40 are provided. Staff had a conversation with Panda about the spaces that are shown closest to Cook Road, the ones that would be head into Cook Road. There were 4 and now there are 3 in that location. Those spaces, in my opinion, create the likelihood of conflict between the vehicles traveling in and out of Cook Road and then also on-site traffic circulation. So with 2 curb cuts to Cook in such close proximity and vehicles that might be entering or exiting either curb cut and cutting across the property, and then you have drive-through traffic that's heading out of the drive-through, and then the potential of parking in those spaces with people backing out of those spaces. I just think that those spaces should be removed, and they can be removed without impacting the parking count. Sidewalks are required and provided, and also along with a pedestrian route to the building. Bike parking is required for this use, which should be shown on the plan. Truck turns were provided. I noted that the exhibit showed both a 40-foot fire vehicle and then also a semi-truck. It looked like the semi-truck could only traverse the site if some of the parking spaces were vacant. I was not sure, based upon discussion with the applicant, what type of vehicles they expect to make deliveries or what vehicles make deliveries currently to Starbucks. But if they're going to be semis, then there could be some potential issues depending on time of day that those truck deliveries are made. The applicant did submit a traffic impact study, and that recommended that a 100-foot eastbound right turn lane be constructed on Cook Road leading to Starbucks and the Cook shared driveway. That has not been included in the Panda Express submission. There's been some discussion with our Wolpert consultant who has conducted the Lear Lorraine study. We had requested that they review this traffic impact study, also in light of just traffic in the situation happening just up the street. Given the heavy traffic in this location and noting the minimal driveway spacing between those curb cuts, Wolpert had made some suggestions for potential improvements to access and on-site circulation. So those included potential of maybe one-way drive aisles in or out, since there are the 2, and or modifying the on-site traffic circulation to maybe one-way, just to reduce the number of potential conflict points. We did share those recommendations with Panda team. They were not amenable to discussing those changes. to either the driveway locations or circulation patterns. So I do see that there's a benefit having removed one of the existing driveways to Cook Road, but, you know, the future use of restaurant is going to be drive significantly greater traffic than an auto repair place in this location would have. In fact, you know, it's a drive-through auto-oriented use. Therefore, it's going to add more traffic to a pretty congested intersection. I thought that, you know, driveway spacing, cross-access, site circulation was a key issue with this project. I don't know that I feel staff has fully digested or been able to discuss all of our concerns and potential improvements with the applicant. So I guess I would leave it in Planning Commission's hands to carefully consider those issues with this project. I'd recommend that Planning Commission make lot consolidation a condition of approval, and I had some other recommendations, including the providing bike parking, removing those 3 spaces, identifying loading or unloading areas, and identifying the type of vehicles and making adjustments if needed to circulation if it will be semis, show the vehicle stacking, and provide some lighting clarifications. Thank you.
That's all? Department of Engineering, any questions or comments?
Yes, thank you. Yes, we agree with the comments that were made by the director in reference to the traffic considerations, especially when you look at the Wolpert study that talks about creating making one of the driveways in and making the other one an exit, because you do have a lot of cross traffic there between basically 3 properties that would be sharing 2 different driveways. So we do agree with at least Planning Commission considering some of the comments from the Wolpert study or Wolpert follow-up study. Plus, we know during further detailed engineering review, we still have some issues to discuss with the applicant for water quality features and so forth, because some of the stormwater is going into the Starbucks property. So we want to make sure that we not only look at what they have to make sure that we're meeting the EPA requirements for not only water quality, but water quantity control there because of how this is being proposed. They do propose some infiltration trenches in there, bioswales as they may be within the property, but we would like to, we will reserve further discussion with them after this moves forward once we get into a more detailed engineering study. So thank you very much.
Assistant Law Director, anything?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm hearing a lot of access issues, so I'm hoping the applicant speaks to those. But I would also ask the panel here, is there anything specifically like ordinance-wise that they're in violation of?
We do have minimum spacing requirements between driveways. And so, this doesn't meet the minimum spacing. However, both of these curb cuts are existing and it's removing one in the middle. But this is new construction. So to me, this is an opportunity to improve beyond the existing condition and to prevent problems before they exist. So I think there's still a role for Planning Commission discussion, even if these curb cuts exist, because there is substantial change by adding a new drive-through restaurant that shares access and shares parking in part with Starbucks in this case.
Okay. All right, obviously, I believe you're here to represent the application. Please state your name and address for the record. Tell us a little bit more about the project and hopefully answer some of the questions that the administration has.
Okay, Philip Metter, I'm with Heights Venture Architects. My address is 5741 Legacy Drive, Suite 320 in Plano, Texas. What's interesting about this project is, you mentioned, of course, there's the existing curb cuts and they are close together. There's actually access easements that were created. In fact, actually, the existing drive that we're still utilizing on the right there, that one was created in 1969 and is still there. So we would have to, of course, get permission from the whoever that's connected to. Same thing goes actually for the Starbucks is when they put in they did their project, they actually put in an access easement that went through. I believe it actually even expanded at one point to possibly include, because I think there was a car wash that was planning on going into the south of that at one point. And I think they actually somehow got connected into that, like they were going to somehow create access, and that was going to go all the way through the site. Basically, that's where some of the issue has been to change these drives is we would have to get permission from other people to do so. We've talked to the Starbucks, and they are pretty adamant about they like their access the way it is. We are actually enlarging it a little bit to try to help with being able to get a truck in and out, which they were fine with. But when we tried talking to them about some other things, they really were pretty adamant. They liked their access the way that the easement is actually drawn going through the site. So that does make it, of course, obviously difficult to do some of the recommendations like the right in, right out, or make that a right in only. Or even, I think one of the suggestions was even to remove that one and do just the entrance that's a little bit further away from the intersection, specifically to help traffic. So that's part of that. Kind of going through a couple of other things. Talked about, of course, the parking count. We know that we're above the minimum, and so some of the numbers that Panda actually sent me is when it comes to their dine-in during the lunch hour, they tend to average between 42 and 45 per day transactions. So basically, while there might be a little bit of somebody who comes a little early and somebody who comes a little late, it's still a decent number of people. So basically the parking spots are needed, at least as many as we can get. Their average, they like to aim for about 40, give or take. And those 3 spaces that are actually off of Cook Road, those are actually intended as drive-through waiting spaces. And so the idea is that whenever an item is either slow or something like that, somebody just pulls into that spot temporarily, and then somebody will bring out their food when it's ready. So those spots aren't really intended for everyday, just somebody parking there. And so one of the discussions with Panda is if we, of course, remove those, they would need to go somewhere else. And now we have this traffic coming back over and then into the main parking. And, again, that could actually cause a couple of other conflicts in different ways, just because that traffic is going back and forth. As mentioned, we did try to provide that sidewalk connection, and the intent now is there's a little bit of space over there next to that. That's where we're planning on actually putting the bike rack. I thought we had a call out for it, but I guess we missed the call out. But the bike rack we'll definitely put in. About the truck access, I think our engineers actually did the little bit larger truck than we normally do. It's a WB55 is what we typically actually try to plan for. And I think they did a WB, what is that, a 65? So that's a much larger truck than what normally is planned for. And typically where the drop off is the truck would pull up to the side of the building and basically offload is where they would do that. The deliveries are almost always early in the morning before any of the Panda customers come in there. So I do think we will work on this traffic study a little bit because I do see a couple of conflicts. We can't go into the Tesla parking spots. We could probably go into the Panda ones just because there shouldn't be anybody there, but we agree. The Tesla ones, so that's something we'll work on. Let's see.
Mr. Chair, can I interrupt just because we're on the subject of that exhibit?
Go ahead.
You're showing the trucks coming in and out off of Cook, but would not the trucks be coming in and out of Lorraine Road and down Cook, from Lorraine, not heading west on Cook, but coming off the highway onto Lorraine and then turning onto Cook and then coming that direction? I think it might matter in terms of showing the truck turn about which direction the trucks would be permissibly coming from and going to show the turn radius, if that makes sense.
It sure does. Yeah, I would assume they'd be coming from the interchange.
Right.
Yeah, when I came through here to come here tonight, we happened to drive by the site, and so I saw that that is the typical direction coming off the highway. So, yeah, we'll update that to actually to do that. So I'll write that note down. Okay. Sorry, going through my notes here. On the stacking, I thought at one point we had sent one. I think we accidentally turned the cars off when we updated it, so apologies about that. We do have it's 14 stacking, and we typically aim for it's about a 10 by 20 space for the stacking cars when we do that. So, and I think we got 14 in there. And we'll definitely send more on the light fixtures. Again, I thought we had sent some of that, but we may not have, and I apologize.
I know there are a lot of different submittals, so it might be, I just.
Yeah, it may have just been in something else. So yeah, we'll look through that again and send that. And to your point, there is some building lights that definitely probably need to be considered. And I don't know if we sent a night shot to you of what one of these look like. So yeah, we'll send that to you because there is some wall washes, and that obviously may, I know some jurisdictions do not allow certain kinds of lights like that. So we'll send those so they can be reviewed. Okay. I think that hits a lot of the major points, unless there's something I'm missing. Any questions?
Actually, I'm going to open it up to general public. So if there's anybody in the general public that has some questions or concerns about this project, please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and tell us a little bit what your concerns or questions are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Connor Grisey, address 3849 Beavercrest Drive, Lorain, Ohio. I'm the one who operates the automotive business inside 32425 Cook Road. And I really just wanted to touch on some of the traffic that I see throughout my day-to-day activities here. I have some notes. I just found out about this very recently. So I have tried to read the documents that were presented about the traffic and read all the charts. And I just wanted to talk on, you guys did touch on some points about the trucks. Starbucks, he says that they will be, the trucks at Panda will be delivering in the morning, which is Starbucks' busiest time. And we actually had to block off our parking lot from Starbucks due to the customers driving over the curbs and to get around the traffic. I do have a camera up front because prior to having the camera, somebody sideswiped a vehicle that I had parked up front and drove away. But that was due to the traffic from Starbucks being so busy. When I go in on the weekends, I don't mean 1 or 2 cars, I mean 5 to 7 are parked in my lot. I have no problem with that at all, especially if it helps the safety of consumers and citizens. And there's a preschool down on I want to say the west side off of Lorain headed towards Learnagle. And there's also a school, I'm not aware of the grade that it hosts, east of our building as well. Starbucks users also use the cheap tobacco, the detailer lot, and even the BP. That's how much traffic really that Starbucks really brings, and the Tesla charging stations as well. I see the new trucks and Cybertrucks, things like that I would never noticed before. A couple other little things. There's a lot of yelling and cursing and horns that go on throughout the day. And it really makes the Starbucks entrance is very thin. You can't a lot of people who turn left, that traffic light is very short right there, as you guys are all aware. And it gets backed up very quickly because somebody who is waiting to turn right, 3 cars behind somebody who's waiting to turn left, it makes it really challenging. I see it get backed up very quickly. Just yesterday, I had a lady who had to swerve out of the way because she was going to turn right out of Starbucks and somebody was pulling left off of Cook Road into Starbucks parking lot. And she had to go over the curb or else it would have been an accident. Very slow moving accident, but still just something to note in front of you guys today. I saw the plans, how they were going to have the 2 driveways. I am worried that that is very close. You have to pay attention from vehicles coming west and east. Not only that, but out of the BP parking lot, there is a back parking lot from Panera, Dunkin', Chipotle, and LC, all right there along with the schools there it'd be the east of this picture, as well as the detail cheap tobacco, which is very busy towards the later hours as well. That's really it. I'm really just concerned about the traffic being there. I know that the lot on the corner of Lorraine Road is probably not as sizable as the 3 parcels that Panda wants to build on. So I do understand, that the size of the matter is not too pristine, but I don't know if that's another option, if that's even possible. I do believe that would help with the traffic a little bit. And my last point I'll make, when I was reading the traffic report, I may be just paraphrasing here, not exactly quoting. I saw that they suggested plans to add lanes to Cook Road and maybe even Lorraine Road, if I remember correctly, which would not be beginning until 2036, which is 10 years after Panda's being built, if I read that correctly. So my point is, I don't know if I would want to bring in more traffic before doing road construction. I believe Kim mentioned something about that, kind of doing the fixing and enlarging before you would want to build and bring more traffic. But that's really all I have to say, you guys. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience that wants to come up and, okay. This time I'm gonna close public audience. Any questions or comments from the commission?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
something I caught and maybe I misunderstood. Do you have permission from Starbucks to use that particular driveway at this point?
Yes, sorry. Yes, and we did meet with them in order to basically make sure that our site plan married up with theirs, and they were happy with how we did it. So yes, they are aware of what we were doing, and they're okay with that.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, also, Cook Road is a non-truck route, so just for the record.
Just through the chair, please.
Go ahead.
Sir, could you reiterate, we were given an alternative circulation that was strictly one way, which would eliminate quite a few of the conflict points in your parking lot. And you had mentioned that. Could I ask you to reiterate that and detail why a one-way flow would not work for your project here? Traffic flowing one way?
So basically when we were looking at that specific comment, what we kind of ran into was by basically sending all the traffic going up through that one side, it would back up a very specific way and potentially cause some other conflicts in other places. By at least allowing traffic to come back up through the Panda, if both entrances are maintained, there's also an option point. So traffic could potentially, basically queue and also move in other ways. So that's really kind of the main idea of why Panda would like to keep having that is basically the flexibility of allowing the traffic to do what it needs to do.
But doesn't that also open up the opportunity for overflow out of Starbucks to basically run amok in that lot?
Well, that is a very good point, and actually with what you brought up, yeah, it sounds like the Starbucks is already kind of working on doing that anyway. So that may be something that we need to take back and consider.
Thank you.
I guess my initial comment is just because it's an available lot doesn't necessarily mean that this is the right use for the lot. It seems like there's a lot jammed on this parcel. And not only is the parcel tight to begin with, but this is probably one of the busiest intersections in the city. And I mean, traffic. I mean, that's the sense tonight. And it seems like, I mean, the administration's made comments on it. I just don't feel like that you guys are really picking up on all this, that the fact that traffic's such a major issue, not only for the administration, but for the general public.
Okay. I mean, without having lived here, obviously, you know, we don't know that intersection quite as well as you do. So it is a very valid concern, and Panda does try to, when they move into a location, they do look at the traffic and everything like that. Panda typically actually does not have quite as much traffic as a Starbucks or a Chick-fil-A. I mean, they would like to do that kind of traffic, but it is typically a little bit lower for a restaurant. But I can see where, like, the right turn lane coming in, that one might need to be definitely looked at again, because that might definitely help create that little decel lane and whatnot, so that way people can actually more safely turn right into the property. That is something there. The reason we did not show it originally is Starbucks, when they went in, a lot of that grass space, that is their water quality and detention space. So by putting that in, we would have to then figure out how to basically mitigate that, what we took away to put in that decel lane. So that is also a concern there, because there isn't a lot of opportunity to do that. We try to put in some basically water quality to meet the requirements. And actually, looking at that plan, that's actually a slightly older one, because I think that island we made a little wider so we could actually put a little bit more in. But I can definitely see where traffic is definitely a concern. I do think that possibility of that right entrance, we did learn literally just the other day that if once Panda potentially takes these properties and consolidates them, they would potentially be the one who actually owns that easement, and so could potentially remove it, and you know, that may be an opportunity there.
So I guess all right, so you answered one. So eventually the three parcels are going to be consolidated. Panda will own it. Then they'll create an egress, they'll create some type of easement for Starbucks then through their lot.
That easement is probably, it's already existing, and so that will probably stay with the parcels when they're combined.
Okay. And I think,
but the one on the right that's there, I believe that easement, when it was originally created, that's the one I mentioned from 1969. There's some kind of a trucking lot or something to the south. It looks like that actually was the original drive that accessed that lot, and so. Yeah, on the aerial you can see that lot to the south. So that drive on that's kind of in between right there. That one is actually a access easement that supposedly connected that, but I guess at some point or another they built that wall there and closed it off. And looking through the documents, like I said, just a few days ago, we discovered that Panda, once the lots are consolidated, would actually be potentially the owner of that, which would give them some rights to be able to do something about that.
So I guess one thing, you sort of mentioned there was some preliminary discussion with Starbucks, and Starbucks felt like they're okay with the way the traffic is. which is sort of alarming to me, considering, you know, I mean, I've seen that intersection myself, so. You would think, though, that they would be a willing partner to try and, you know, help them out as well. Because this is not only your parcel, we have to look at the whole entire thing. We have to look at the Starbucks parcel. And then also, I mean, I'm assuming down the road that strip mall is going to be ready for redevelopment as well. So you're going to have all those parcels interchanging, and we have to look at how all that functions.
Right.
So I guess, this is a loaded question. How do you want the commission to proceed tonight? Do you guys want to go back and look at some of this traffic issue? Or would you like me to look for a vote?
I think what I would, or what Panda would like is if we could go ahead and have a vote
Okay.
on it. We do understand that there is some of the potential, you know, traffic issues, and so if that's a condition to look at that, then, you know, I think they would definitely, you know, take a closer look, and we can definitely work.
Okay, so just so you're aware, you know, we're a recommending body. We will make a vote, and then what will happen is whatever our recommendation is, council will need 2/3 to override it.
Okay.
And can I further clarify, Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
that if the project were to not be recommended, that the applicant would have to refile a new application?
Is that, 1 second. Is that okay? And I guess there'd be another, after you're done, I'll open it up to the floor again.
Like I said, based on my discussions that I had with Panda, I think that they would like to have the vote today, yes.
Okay. Based on what was provided tonight.
Yes.
Okay. And all right, if you mind stating your name and address for the record?
James Martinowski, I'm with Osborne Capital. We're the property owner, actually, where Starbucks is on, and this location as well. So I didn't have any comments before, but I did want to bring it up to the attention of the panel that, and I believe the car wash, there's a existing recorded easement between all three parcels. The car wash parcel, which I believe came in for approvals. I know they're not going forward at this time, but so there is a easement recorded with access between all parcels. So there is the ability and the requirement when the car wash builds to have access to these parcels. So somebody could make a right off of Lorraine Road and go through to entrances, and it would relieve some of that traffic that's coming off of Cook Road when that gets developed. So that is in place. It's a recorded easement between the parcels that are there. So, and I believe that was the car wash, I believe was brought into the city, wasn't it, for approvals?
Yes, they've received an extension, but I also am aware that the property's for sale and
Right.
that the development's not assured at this point.
It's not, but there's a recorded easement that requires them, whoever builds on it, to have cross easement access through those parcels, so. And then the other easement they were discussing was the older one that's, if you go back to the other piece that's on the right side of Panda, or on the east side of Panda, that he was mentioning, that easement, I think it shows up, where is it? Yeah, that's on the east side of Panda there. There's a, I think it's 30 or 40-foot easement that was created in 1969, and that's to the benefit of the property, as he mentioned, behind there, which is the existing truck parking or whatever, but they have the easements to their benefit for ingress and egress. They don't use it right now, but it is there. So to do anything with that has to go back to them. So I just wanted to, put a little bit more light on the overall project and the easements that are recorded for cross traffic and stuff. So, and then as far as, I think they talked about a right turn on, if there was they talked about a possible right turn decel in front of Starbucks. Was that what was talked about?
It was a recommendation of the applicant's study, but we really didn't have the ability to have that conversation with our traffic people and the Panda traffic people.
Okay.
They wanted to move forward tonight rather than have that discussion.
Yeah, because the existing retention is actually further back. It's right in front of the Starbucks parking stalls on the Starbucks parcel. So that area out front, if you look at the overall, is basically a large front right-of-way, when Cook Road used to be at a different angle, and then it was bent and twisted to line up with Larinagle. So see that large green area there? A lot of that is actual right-of-way for the city. So there could be something done as far as if a right decel lane needs to be done, and I don't think it'll affect the, the retention area. So it could be something that's be talked about. So
Right.
I just wanted to bring all those points out. So
Okay, well, thank you.
thank you, thank you.
All right, is there any further questions or comments from the commission? Okay, hearing, all right, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion. Just a point of order, a motion in affirmative does not mean you have to vote in affirmative. Just means that we get a motion out on the table. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Ali,
No.
Toth,
No.
Havens,
No.
Smolik.
No.
Motion fails. 4-0.
All right, Madam Secretary, I believe there's no more business brought before Planning Commission tonight, so we are adjourned.